Hello and welcome to Positively United. It's the second time I've done a video today, Thursday the 12th of February 2026. And the reason I'm doing two videos today is that we've got a second dose of big manager news. Yes, very, very bad day for the anybody but Carricks. Or should I actually say a big world-class famous name other than Carrick, because this morning, Thomas Tuchel dropped out of the race when he signed a contract extension with England that will take him through to the Euros in 2028. Well, it's just broken in the last half hour. The Athletic have broken the story. And I'll just read a little bit of it out from their posting on X. Carlo Ancelotti is set to sign a new 4-year contract with the Brazilian Football Confederation, keeping him as head coach of the nation through to 2030. The paperwork for the deal has not yet been finalised, but is now seen as a formality that Ancelotti will agree the long-term deal. So Ancelotti's out. So the narrative has been developing over the last couple of days that the alternative to Carrick isn't a hipster manager like De Zerbi or Glasner. It's a big name, big beast manager like Tuchel, who seemed to be the front runner, or Ancelotti. I guess Nagelsmann's in that list too. But that was the theory anyway. That, you weren't giving up Carrick for some sort of like unproven hipster. You were going to give up Carrick for proven winners, really big names in football. Well, the problem for the anybody but Carricks is they'd dreamt up that theory without asking Tuchel or Ancelotti, because they're just not interested. I always thought Tuchel was a fantasy, and I'll tell you why. Because Tuchel was offered the job 2 years ago, and he turned it down. He was offered the job. Now, there are rumours why he didn't take it. The pay wasn't good enough. He didn't like the fact he was going to be more of a head coach than a manager. Or that he wanted to break. I've actually, for some time now, favoured the idea. He genuinely just wanted to break. But what I mean by he wanted to break was he wanted to break from club management. He's living his dream. And it's interesting, in the statement that was released by the FA and Tuchel earlier today when they announced the contract extension, honestly, Tuchel could not be more effusive, could he, about the job that he's got at England. He just loves it. I genuinely think he's living his best life. He's a football manager, but he doesn't have the day-to-day responsibility of putting up with the management hierarchy at a club. Something clearly which eventually always rubs him up the wrong way. He doesn't have that at England. Managing an international team is not like managing our club side. There isn't that day-to-day grind of dealing with the board, of dealing with the director of football and falling out with them. There's virtually no one to fall out with in the England management structure. And it'll be the same for Carlo Ancelotti in Brazil. They're living their best life. They're getting paid astronomical sums of money. They're going to be playing in a World Cup this summer. Both teams are excellent. Both of them might win it, both of them might not. But they're both going to proceed way into the tournament. Neither of them is going to, even if they don't win it, are going to come under much pressure at the end of it, if any at all. No, they're living their best lives. And you do have to wonder, for both of them, why would they give that up for one of the most pressured, if not the most pressured job in world football? So the runners and riders for the permanent head coach position at Manchester United is becoming thinner by the moment. Now, De Zerbi obviously has resigned from Marseille, and there was a rumour going round that he would be offered the Tottenham job today, but that's not materialised. In fact, what seems to have happened is that he said he now wants a break. So you could interpret that as meaning I'm going to wait till the summer until I get offered the United job, and I think it's a possibility. but only if United were lying when they said they're not interested in a hipster manager. But perhaps they don't consider him to be a hipster manager, but he is. His track record isn't great. Did okay at Brighton. He's done okay at Marseille, but fallen out with them 3 times. I don't see why anybody in their right mind would appoint De Zerbi over Carrick. I'll run through my 3 tests for Carrick again. If by the end of the season, Manchester United have qualified for European football, not necessarily Champions League, European football, I don't see why the bar should be higher for Carrick than it was for Amorim. If he qualifies for European football, if in doing so we play the Manchester United way, we all know what that means, don't pretend we don't, and if he were appointed, he could keep that squad of coaches together substantially that he has now. Michael Carrick, by the end of the season, is the best qualified person to become the head coach of Manchester United on a permanent basis. If he falls down on those 3 tests, any one of them, then he oughtn't to get the job. Or you better have a really, really good reason not to give him the job. And that's where the big beasts came in. Now, I think there's probably one big beast left, but he splits opinion at United, and I've never understood why, and that's Pochettino. I wanted Poch at United for quite some time. I would have taken Poch over Ten Hag any day. But remember, the hipster commentators, the YouTube influencers told us, oh, no, don't appoint Poch. Because Poch hasn't got a good track record. He didn't do very well at Tottenham. He took them to a Champions League final. Tottenham to a Champions League final. Can I just say that again? He took Tottenham to a Champions League final. He won the league with PSG in France. Oh, everybody wins the league with PSG in France. Well, not everybody, but he did it. He's a top manager, but he's barely mentioned at the moment. He should still be in the frame. Nagelsmann, I'm really unsure about Nagelsmann. I remain unsure about Nagelsmann. I remain unsure about whether his approach would translate well into the Premiership. I have to say, there's one thing about Nagelsmann I do have a lot of time for. Is the story, of course, is why he didn't get the Chelsea job. He didn't get the Chelsea job because he refused to be part of the recruitment process. He refused to have an interview. He refused to be in a competition. He said to Chelsea, if you want me as manager, come and get me, offer me the job, I'll take it. But I don't want to be part of the competition. There's a bit of me that really quite likes that. And there's a bit of me that thinks, wow, that's the kind of arrogance you need to be a Manchester United manager. So I must admit, after being a bit downer on Nagelsmann, I'm still nervous about whether he could accommodate himself into the Premier League. I love that attitude, and many of you might really dislike it, but I think, well, yeah, if you've got self-worth and you think you could do a job, why would you say, oh yeah, okay, I'll battle it out with all the deadbeats that you're also interviewing? By the way, it was mentioned today by Ben Jacobs that Manchester United's long list of managerial candidates is probably going to be 12 long. 12 long? 12? Who's on that list? Am I on that list? Are you? I mean, it's just a ridiculous idea that Manchester United have got a list of 12 candidates for the manager's job. If they have, I'm really worried, because what lowlifes, what useless candidates are on a list of 12? One of the good things about Tuchel and Ancelotti now no longer being in the running is that the list is getting more realistic. And that's where we should be. We should be realistic about who the next permanent coach of Manchester United could be. You know what? Tuchel was never going to take the job because he turned it down once before. Ancelotti was never going to take the job because he's on record as having said in the past he doesn't want to touch the job of the barge pole. He's scared of it. Do we want managers who don't want United, who've turned us down in the past? Are we going to beg, are we, to a manager who's turned us down in the past? Or try and entice a manager who quite clearly prefers the son of Italy or Spain? Are we going to do that? No, we shouldn't. Manchester United should be trying to get a head coach that loves the club and wants to manage Manchester United. A job who, for that manager, would be the best job they'll ever have. In my mind at the moment, I can think of two who are realistic and who fit that bill. One of them's already in place, and the other one is Poch, who, if we're to believe the stories, has always had his eye on the United job. So the more I think about it, the more I think that the United job should boil down to Michael Carrick or Pochettino. I'm sure many people will disagree, but that's me. Anyway, monumental day. Two of the big beasts out of the running for United job, and those who are the anybody but Carricks have really got to get back to the drawing board, because they're running out of candidates to gaslight us with a theory that they're going to be better than what we already have. Okay, it's a long time since we play our next game. It's, 10 days? So I might not be producing a video every single day between now and then. It might be a video every other day because I want to produce some quality. I don't want to force it. But if there's news on the day, I will produce a video. But I might bring the videos down for one every other day until the day before we play Everton. But, of course, if there's a story, I will do a video every day. Okay, that's all I had to say in this. If you liked the video, please click the like button. Please subscribe to the channel. I've got an X account. Please follow that too. The link is in the description. I've got a coffee account. If you want to contribute, the link is in the description too. But until we see each other again, always remember to be positively united.